The mystery over alleged disappearance or death of 11 US scientists reportedly linked to UFO or nuclear research continues to baffle people and trigger serious concern, and now in a major development. And to add to that concern, it has now been claimed that this pattern may go back decades. Take a look.
US scientists working in different fields such as nuclear and UFO research have vanished or been found dead since 2022. US President Donald Trump has vowed answers. Federal agencies led by FBI have intensified their probe. UFO researchers Timothy Hood and Nigel Watson have reportedly claimed that the series of deaths related to UFOs go back decades. The first incident they refer to dates back to 1947. Harold Dahl and his boss Fred Chrisman claimed to have spotted unidentified flying objects over the sky over Maury Island in Washington. Controversy gained ground as two Air Force officers in charge of investigating this incident died in a plane crash. Dahl was reportedly told to remain silent on the UFO sighting. Years later, Chrisman was questioned in connection with the assassination of President Kennedy. The next case occurred in 1968. New York-based UFO researcher Jennifer Stevens said she was contacted by two boys who claimed to have seen a glowing fireball over the Mohawk River. According to UFO researcher Stevens' husband, Peter was accosted by a man who allegedly said people who look out for UFOs should be careful. Shortly afterwards, he died suddenly, and Jennifer Stevens retired from UFO investigations. Reports say writer Otto Binder claimed that 137 UFO investigators died under mysterious circumstances during the 1960s. Another incident was reported in January 1996 when UFO researcher Philip Schneider was found dead in his apartment after claiming threats to his life. Now, who are the US scientists whose death or disappearance since 2022 sparked speculation that they might have been targeted by America's enemies? This includes Amy Scridge, a scientist attempting to develop anti-gravity technology. In 2022, she was found dead with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. A year later, NASA researcher Michael David Hicks was found dead. Come 2024, NASA scientist Frank Maywald died under mysterious circumstances. This is not all. In 2025, former Los Alamos employee Anthony Chavez went missing after leaving home. This was followed by the disappearance of aerospace executive Monica Reza, who went on a hiking trip in California. Another Los Alamos employee, Melissa Kessler, also disappeared. Similarly, government contractor Steven Garcia stepped out carrying a handgun and was never seen again. In December 2025, Novartis researcher Jason Thomas disappeared, with his body found from Massachusetts Lake in March this year. In the same month, nuclear physicist Nuno Loureiro was shot dead at home. Additionally, astrophysicist Carl Grillmer, who collaborated with NASA, was also killed. The last case of disappearance dates back to February 27th when retired Air Force General William McCaslin vanished from his home. His wife even admitted that he had a brief association with the UFO community. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
Russia has issued a deadly warning to Ukraine. It has threatened mass attack on Kiev if its self-imposed ceasefire is violated on Victory Day. This comes as Ukrainian president has announced a separate ceasefire amid the strikes. Here's a detailed report.
Russia is combining long-range precision weapons and attack drones to strike Ukraine's military industrial sites and energy infrastructure. Days ahead of the Victory Day parade and announcement of its ceasefire, Russia is hammering Ukraine. In the latest assault, Russia has struck the heart of Chernihiv. Ukrainian authorities say a Russian drone has hit an administrative building and has set nearby vehicles ablaze. Moscow claims the Ukrainian army has lost over 1,200 troops in frontline battles in the last 24 hours. But Ukraine is sending out a loud message. With its increasing offensive capabilities, the Ukrainian military is carrying out precise strikes deep inside Russia. These are the images of a military facility in Cheboksary, nearly 1,500 kilometers inside Russia, engulfed in flames. In a bold admission, Zelensky confirms that Ukraine used long-range Flamingo cruise missiles to target facilities linked to Russia's drone and missile production. These facilities host components tied to Shahed and Iskander systems. This marks one of Ukraine's deepest known strikes into Russian territory, a move that signals Ukraine's growing capability to hit strategic targets far from the front line. The Ukrainian president describes the strikes as a response to ongoing Russian attacks. Zelensky warns Ukraine's long-range capabilities will continue to be used against military targets until Putin engages in real diplomacy.
Furthermore, this is Russia's war against Ukraine, and therefore America and Russia are discussing a ceasefire. What kind of ceasefire do they have? It is important that our side knows what they are agreeing on.
As the fighting rages, Kyiv declares that it will halt hostilities earlier than the truce window outlined by the Kremlin. But people in Moscow are skeptical. They are divided if there will be a real ceasefire.
It's up to our authorities to sort the security. I cannot be in constant stress. That is how I feel. I also feel that our authorities and leadership don't do enough in protecting us. There is no sense being in constant stress, because if something strikes on me, it will just strike and I can do nothing with it. But the authorities can, so I have a request for them to do it.
I think it is unlikely that Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky will keep the ceasefire. Everything, drones, etc., that flew before, will fly. But we have the sense of security. I am there at frontline, and I see it myself.
The battlefield is expanding, and so are the stakes. As ceasefire calls compete with continued strikes, the path to peace remains uncertain, and the war shows no clear signs of slowing down. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
Tech giant Meta Platforms is facing one of its most consequential legal battles yet in the US. In New Mexico, prosecutors are pushing for sweeping changes to how social media platforms operate, especially among young users. At the center of the case is a bold demand: declare Meta's platforms like Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp a public nuisance, quote unquote. This legal label is traditionally used for threats to public health and safety. Now, if this label is granted, then it would basically open the door to major court-ordered reforms and billions of dollars in penalties. The lawsuit was brought by New Mexico Attorney General. He accuses Meta of deliberately designing its platforms to keep young users hooked while failing to protect them from serious implications, including mental health risks and sexual exploitation, allegedly. This trial marks the second phase of a landmark case. Earlier this year, a jury found that Meta had violated consumer protection laws by misleading the public about the safety of its platforms for children and teens. The company was ordered to pay $375 million in damages. Back then, Meta said that it will appeal the verdict. Now prosecutors are asking for far more. They reportedly want nearly $3.7 billion in fine, along with structural changes that could redefine how social media works for minors. Among the proposed reforms, stronger age verification systems, default privacy protections for children, limits on features like autoplay and infinite scrolling, and algorithms redesigned to prioritize healthier and age-appropriate content. There's also a push for increased oversight, including the possibility of a court-appointed monitor to track child safety improvements and requirements that minor accounts be linked to a parent or a guardian. The implications go far beyond one state. This case is being closely watched across the United States, where dozens of similar lawsuits have been filed by state governments, school districts, municipalities. Many are seeking to hold social media companies accountable for growing youth mental health crisis. The stakes could not be higher. A ruling that its platforms constitute a public nuisance could set a powerful precedent for the social media industry. The trial is expected to run for several weeks, in fact, with the judge ultimately deciding whether the company's practices cross the legal threshold into public harm and what must change if they do.